Flash. I drink to the show that I once knew. There's some Iron Brew, but, you know. I love tub bammy whammy. Look, I don't even know what that intro was. Like, but what did I just watch? Look, how do I premise this? Which is, look, these days people get offended if you don't have the same opinion as them, but I'm just going to say this anyway. I can't speak for everyone. I'm not saying you are like that. You may disagree with me, that's fine, but let's try and cater for every single kind of person watching this video right now. I used to just say this, look, it's absolutely fine. It really, really is. If you like where the show is at right now, you're finding it funny, you found it better than last week's episode, you like the tone that has been so very transparently changed throughout the years, but I don't, and that's fine as well. I really do not like what I just watched, and look, I all round, I don't like it, but, you know, it's weird for me, because I like the cast still. I love the character. He's my basically joint first favorite character in the DC in terms of vigilante with being Batman, but metahuman Flash. And I'm trying to watch this to enjoy it. And sometimes I have, despite the, you know, the typical criticisms of writing and stuff. But I'm just ranting in this review. What this episode is just personifies what I feel like people like me have come to dislike about The Flash. Again, I know I keep addressing this, but it's just so important for me to acknowledge that, you know, if you're a fan who enjoys this, there's nothing wrong with that. And through me really not liking it, that doesn't invalidate your enjoyment. People do not have to always agree on things. But the thing is, with this episode in Goldface, and the kind of tone that this really heavily leaned into, it just personifies the change that The Flash went through, as I keep mentioning in recent reviews, that the way to look at it is that when you release a show, like, as people do, you get an audience, the show's released, you set it up, and say what you will about the first 3 seasons. Like, honestly, whether you really like them, there's still flaws in the first season and the second season, and what most people say, even with the 3rd season of The Flash with Savitar, and maybe it was a bit too dark, believe it or not, with tone, you know, compared to what it is now. What I'm trying to get to the line of here is that us as fans in this Flash CW Arrowverse community fell in love with it for a reason. Those first impressions, it wasn't without the lighter tone, the quirkiness here and there, but it had a nice balance. It wasn't leaning too much in one direction. It most certainly didn't have this rhythm that is just echoing like a heartbeat of just constant, like, flamboyancy, which, you know, fair enough, people have now adapted to, but now just with, like, the constant background music of the whole, you know, it's like what I can download on the YouTube audio library. I'm gonna do it for the sake of this video. Like, literally, I assume that I'm playing something right now. This is what happens in what feels like 3/4 of the show sometimes, until they play a bit of somber music or a bit of sincere music where they're trying to make me emotionally connected to I don't know why what, because it's just not happening anymore. The reason why fans like me are this passionately frustrated with this, despite, you know, people still having successfully adapted to what Eric Wallace has done with the mood and tone and kind of flamboyancy of the show now. I do want to acknowledge it's not without its serious moments. Like, there were some serious moments with Eobard Thawne earlier this season. But I would say the major stamp, you know, if you get your freaking coursework or homework or whatever, job work stamped with a big broad stroke of ink, or paint or whatever, it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be what the first few seasons of Substance was made up with tone. It would just be what it is in this episode. Overall, I would say The Flash is this now, like, truly. And that just baffles me. Like, how can you... I understand that shows can change over time and explore new routes, but to do it so jarringly like this, it's just such a piss take, I think, for me. I don't mind having funny moments in The Flash. I really don't, because, as I said, like, there were, you know, freaking hell, like, look at Cisco and Harrison Wells in the early seasons. I really vibed with that. It was quirky and flamboyant. I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but it just didn't have its every fiber of being episode to episode like what it is now. And I think that's where clearly I'm passionately ranting here, and I don't want people to take it as, oh, Boba, you're a hater, and whoever may be watching this right now, I don't know. I want you to understand that this is coming from a place of that I freaking loved this show. It had its issues, and I always say, if I rewatch season 1 and 2 now compared to what I was like when I first saw that years and years ago now, I am a lot more critical thinking now, so maybe I'd find some more cracks in the writing and stuff, but I still feel like the tone would be at a certain level that I really enjoyed, like I did back then. And to what it is now, the reason why I keep making those contrasts and comparisons is because, like, this clearly isn't what... It's just weird to me. Yes, you can take liberties with exploration, and the seasons across the show span have done that, but to change it up so much from what, sold this show to many audience members, of course you're going to have some people who adapt to that, some fans who really enjoy it. Like, I'm not that ignorant or closed-minded to know that there are people commenting saying, like, I really enjoyed this episode. That's fantastic. But to also refute, and what I feel like it is the jarring thing to me, to somewhat, I would say, I don't know if the right word is alienate, but I guess just jar a lot more fans, because I see this a lot in my comment section. There's not just people saying, oh yeah, The Flash is trash, it's a piece of shit, like blah, 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 blah. Like, these are thoughts of people like-minded like me who it's just like, why is the show changed to like this level of tone? Like, oh, I love tub bammy whammy, and just, oh, that's a coinky dink, and the music that I'm now playing again in the background here and there, and oh, it's just, I think the reason why that's so jarring to me, again, because, the Cisco humor was genuinely, I would say, for the most part, obviously, not every joke landed, and that's subjective anyway. But him, or whether it's the Harrison Wells at the time, or, the odd funny Barry moment. Like, it was like, the reason why that worked for me, and I wasn't cringed out by it as much, and again, that's subjective, you may not be cringed out by the same things I am, it's because it was, it was, I guess, present in every episode, but in a nice, Cisco tempered way. The pattern was like, okay, well, this was Cisco and Harry, that happened. But other than that, there was this clear, echo of story, what was going on. It didn't have to be so edgy all the time. I'm not asking for season 3 Saboteur levels of severity. I'm just, what I feel like if you do not acknowledge what I'm saying here with the tone of the first 3 seasons, and even like to give them credit, they tried to get back into it sometimes with like Cicada in that season, but arguably like the smoldering of Cicada sometimes and things like that. It just, I can't blame them for trying. But for the most part, after season 4, it's just like to not acknowledge the clear difference here and why so many fans are having a hard time enjoying this would just be like, how can you not see that, even if you enjoy it? And I just don't get it, man. I don't understand. I really don't. Like, maybe it's people's like really sheer fandom for the great cast that is on this show. And that is something I still stay, Grant Gustin is my Barry Allen. Like, he's a fantastic Flash. Even in this episode, when he comes swooping in, I like him as a Flash. I really do. I really like Candice Patton as Iris West. In fact, at the beginning of this season, I was like, yes, damn, like, it felt like cool. Like, it actually felt like there was a kind of shift in storyline here, where we had, like, the offices of Central City Citizen, and Barry and Caitlin were doing something over there, and Jitters. It just felt like, okay, we're cutting to separate scenes here, and it felt like, yeah, they're not all within Star Labs, all, down the mic to Barry. It felt like, okay, I can vibe with this. I didn't want to get too overexcited about that, but, like, I can imagine a show where, in that first or second episode, I may be misremembering right now, like, that would be, like, a good rhythm for modern day Flash for me to resonate with, on top of my clear bias here for the show, which has kept me going to this point, despite my frustrations of changes of what the Flash is now turned into, compared to what it was in the first 3 seasons. But with what I'm just watching now, and like these weird interlude episodes, I have enough issues, I guess, when it gets to the plot. And granted, like, right at the end there, like, I'm still going to keep watching, as I say, because, I want to see what's going on with Iris there. And I do believe we kind of know what's going. It's what Eric Wallace said with the split throughout time. And, we can't forget that Dion removed the treatments that he did for Iris in the Armageddon event. And it was like those decaying still force tachyon particles or whatever they were that were humming around Iris's eyes. I get what they're doing now. And, I'm always a sucker for the Arrowverse Flash meta-humany kind of mystery-wistery kind of thing there. But I know filler episodes are meant to be development, and I argue Kramer got some interesting development in this episode, but everything just surrounding the general makeup. Like, if you outfit something, if you bring out a tone in the show, that's a hugely inherent part of what something is. Tonally, like, this is this. When you change things up like that, despite having the same actors, like a similar kind of story and just like the pattern of, there's another threat in town to kind of complement the main story going on that's unraveling throughout multiple episodes. I do just feel like I can argue, having watched plenty of other shows, that you can not have to have interlude episodes and still have that character development in episodes, because it just feels like, at this rate, to fans who want to love this show and would, I think, be very, despite, same writing quality levels and stuff, would be very on board with that of like a series 1 to 2, even 3 vibe in present day. Episodes like this just feel like a meme at this point, despite also, as I keep wanting to emphasize, knowing that there's plenty, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people who really still enjoy the comedy in this. It's just, I think, one thing I keep circling back to is the crux of this issue for me, is just that it isn't what I have fallen in love with The Flash about, and it's kept up in a very consistent way. Like, they hone in on it. They really hone in on it. And the reason why you may be thinking, well, why do you still watch it like consistent? Because sometimes, this is the funny thing, amongst all the other things I still praise about the show, the cast, there has been some cool moments here and there and things like that, they do sometimes lean into an episode where it does feel like a little bit of the old days. Hey, shit, like, as Eric Wallace and the writers, maybe they gotta like avoid like that kind of tone they've been going. But then it's like the just kind of music like that, as freaking Goldface is like counting down on the phone. It's like ding 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 ding. It's just like, what are we watching? Like a freaking Christmas movie, like an elf movie? The ironic thing here is that it is kind of like comic books still, and I get how people like that, and I think that's why people like it, because sometimes the comics can be goofy like this. Look at 60s Batman, Adam West kind of thing. Or like even the old Flash TV series, the Trickster and John Wesley's ship. But again, the reason why this is an issue and alienates fans like me, or is just kind of jarring sometimes, is because that's not what this show was. So why are you bringing that flavor to it? Why have you swiped on what was the Instagram filter for a few years and then swiped to this? Like, it's just, and then every now and again you change the filter back to like, okay, then just cool couple of episodes. I like the way season 8 picked up. It was cool. I mean, I have a lot of issues with Armageddon still, but that was something I could, if like Armageddon levels kept going this amount of time, again, I would still be saying I have some issues and whatnot, but like, it was still at least a tone that avoided this. But like, Eric just loves to be like goofy, whimsical, flamboyant levels. Hey, you've leveled up. And, Kramer got a confidence boost later, but as Barry's taken off his thing for a confidence boost, the thing that gave him that confidence boost was Caitlyn in that episode 1, I think it was, when he saved people from the Royal Flush Gang doing that thing to the train or whatever, even though I think it wasn't them in the end. But either way, you've really leveled up. And then he runs away. It's just like, I know, like this is just energy. I'm expelling energy. I'm not, it's like I'm in such denial when really this is the case or something. I'm not as pressed as it seems. It's just so disappointing to me, because I keep, I know I'm rambling and revisiting points, but it's like, if the show at least had, even if with the issues, whatever, the tone of season 1, 2, and 3, I think a lot more people would be like, damn, like, why do you think so many people are interested? Like, even take Reverse Flash out of the equation, when threats of a semi kind of serious, more matter level come in with Godspeed, or like, imagine if Cobalt Blue came in, or there was that kind of severity there. It doesn't have to be Barry and Iris stressed all the time, but again, it's the tone. It all comes down to the tone, the frickin' score in the background, the I love tummy wummy, emmy wummy kind of stuff, the frickin' Chillblain and Killer Frost, oh my god, the Kawinky Dinks, like the live streaming moment, the Allegra and Chester, like, did you say, the awkward romance vibes there, like, it's just all of it. It's just like the goofy tone throughout. And like the absolute teenagery to Caitlyn this episode, yes, I get it. I get what you were going for with the I've been scarred by love thing. But like even Chillblaine, like, I was agreeing with him at that certain point. After Caitlyn was just calling Frost like a stupid teenager and things like that, we had Chillblaine saying, you know, we get it. You know, you don't like me. Frost is an adult with her own life. You need to deal with it. I was like, thank you. Look, I get the issue, but like it was such a high school kind of thing, or like I just feel like Caitlyn isn't that emotionally immature. It's just like either way, maybe you can be, and you can be like that as an adult. I'm not pretending people don't have you know, flaws like this, but the dialogue I just think just really didn't sell it for me. It's don't get me started on the dialogue. I think just Eric Wallace just has this really, it's like his Northern Star or something. The love kind of thing. You know, if you want your partner to enter your heart, you can't just open the doors. You gotta open the windows, as you know, we had from the wise old Goldface there. And it's just, again, like Eric always seeding in his love things there, whether that's the live stream and stuff with Chester and whatnot, the frickin' Caitlyn stuff and whatnot, the frickin'... I don't know, guys. I don't know. Look, and next week, guys, we've got to look forward to the money. Give me my money, man. But this time there's going to be a twist. You know, he's being jailed for something that doesn't feel right, according to Barry. I'm not saying it won't be an interesting story, and I do appreciate how a lot of people are appreciating the Flash. You know, and this is something I would say is tasteful. I just, again, don't like the tone. Bringing, you know, in old villains, you know, it's kind of like a Hall of Fame in a kind of way. Bringing back kind of, oh, you know, earlier rogues, well, they're not really rogues gallery, technically, all of them, but metahumans into present day and seeing what they're like now. But again, it's just like, did Flash bring me my latte as that guy was arrested? The same guy from years ago who tried to shoot Joe last episode, back in time when Nora and Bart, I keep doing that, you know, saved Joe from the bullet. That guy just keeps like, well, I only have, you know, ethically sourced diamonds, man. He's like, you better give it to me with frickin' not soy. And it's just like, this is the Flash now. This. What happened to the epic Zoom moments? What happened to Barry, like, you know, meme about the pancake face? All you want, but it's just like, you know, when he was approaching Saboteur, like, yes, there was cheesy moments to it or whatever, but it was just so much more cool in tone. Even with the Cisco, like, moments. I'm pulling my hair out to levels of just, like, yeah, I'm getting it cut soon. So I'll be around, you know, I might give a surprise review here and there, but I might skip next week's episode. I probably will. I'll probably be back when we get to the interesting Iris stuff, or again, as I mentioned in last week's review, if I am skipping some Flash episodes like I did with Batwoman Season 2, I'm going to revisit it. With whatever episode I do decide to review, I'll recap the serious moments, because I assume like there's going to be more developed main plot line with Iris being fractured throughout time next episode, in between all of the metahuman being jailed, you know, to give me my money man Mimi stuff out the way. They'll probably dribble it throughout, and then I guess the episode after that will be like the main addressing episode with Iris and the fracturing throughout time thing again. So like maybe if I review that one, I'll recap the events and what I thought of that. That's the kind of vibe I'm going for now, because at this point, this show is just, I'm kind of speechless. Like, it's just, it's literally not what it was. Fair enough if you are still on board with it and you've adapted to the change in tone, and if anything, you've maybe subscribed to it and really appreciated. But there's a lot of fans. I know I'm really not out there alone. With just thinking that this isn't, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an example here. Imagine if they made Superman and Lois. Yeah, I guess that's an example. You know, it has fun moments in it, as, you know, some goofy moments, but it's got this, like, constant rhythm of tone throughout it. You know, that's not to say Clark doesn't make a joke, or Lois, or, like, the boys just have a fun moment, but it's got a constant, the right word isn't serious, but it's just got a constant tone. Like, it fluctuates here over the spectrum, kind of, you know, and it keeps that main pattern going. But then season 3 comes round, you just get goofy scores in the background between every kind of moment, and there's occasional moment where they want you to care and they put a little bit of somber music there, but you can't just feel like you can be engrossed in that because of just everything you've just witnessed. And then back to like a moment where it's just like, imagine if Clark, even though you can see this within the spectrum of the character, would just be like, I love it, because we've had moments like that with freaking Barry. Let's not pretend like we haven't seen Barry get, you know, drunk and things like that. And yes, it's funny, and I didn't mind that once in a while back in the previous seasons. But again, imagine if Superman and Lois was just like always like this. They bring in a villain, it's just like, it would be jarring, and it'd be like, wait, this isn't a show I kind of really digged in the first 2 seasons. That's exactly what The Flash has done. It's you can't tell me that they didn't do that. Look, I know I didn't really recap this. I've got a bunch of bullet points. Like, literally, I've got a freaking bunch of them where I could have probably made better points, and maybe I'm just gonna get like people to say you should have emphasized on what you meant and stuff, and I probably might have done a better job at that if I, you know, like, I'm just looking at things here, like Barry just having such a reluctance to have some kind of line with Kramer. It just felt like such a redundant storyline. Like, Barry, what is the big issue here with having any kind of, like, it just felt like a non-issue storyline. Like, what? Why not? It could have been an anonymity line still. The Flash could have kept his identity, but they wanted to just bring up a story where Barry was just like, yeah, I just still really don't want to do that, but like, yeah, we all saw it coming by the end of the episode, even from that moment. Do you know what I mean? That's not really a massive criticism. It just felt like, well, this is a redundant story. Like, Barry, like, I don't believe that he would care so much about trying to avoid a line of communication. Again, you don't have to give your identity away from that. Even as Joe suggested, you could have had, what about the alert? And he's still just like, no, we don't need to do... Look, I could have probably just got into more of an actual review, but this was a motherfucking rant, because I'm just like, I'm past it now. Again, videos to come, but just not in any regularity anymore. Like, I have fallen off this show well and truly now. That doesn't mean if you've got to this point of the video, oh, when I post another one in a couple of weeks' time, I thought you were done with The Flash. I'm still gonna check it out. I want to understand where things are at when they address the, like, you know, kind of more serious storyline with Iris, and there might be a mainly plot-driven episode where I really enjoy Barry's acting chops as the Flash, and that's what I'm still in it for. This truly is a situation, it's not me changing, it's you, Flash, in a relationship analogy. It's you, it's not me. I mean, it usually goes, it's me, it's not you. But, like, this time it's you, it's not me. No disrespect to the creators, the writers, in terms of, like, I'm sure you were trying to work hard to make a great show. I still love the cast. I still love all of that. It's just, this isn't what you... This isn't the cocktail you made if you create a restaurant known for a certain menu. This is another analogy to try and put you on my wavelength. And you are literally known for that. And you change your menu, yet you have the same staff, the same guy running the restaurant. You still love those people. It's still going to jar people. And that is what you've done. And that is what it is. You can still try and expect the mass audience to, you know, they might still turn up. Like, I have tried a new menu out in that restaurant analogy. It's just like, you know, I'm trying to enjoy this food, but I really enjoyed the Italian. It's just like, but that's what it was, you know, like and then, you know, occasionally they might put something back on the menu, but still it's overhauled. That's what's happened. And Flash, I'm not really here for it that much more anymore. If that's even a coherent sentence. I can't. F***ing hell, man.